It's time to put the good in your morning. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. And today, a murder charge brought against the man accused of killing a Pea Ridge, Arkansas police officer.
Warnings and watches range from Texas all the way to the Great Lakes. That means the 4 states is right in the midst of them, with rain amounts approaching 6 inches in some places. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
Also, we look at what's on the agenda for Connect to Culture in the month of July. The KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 starts now.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Zach Dodge. Another round of heavy rain brings more flood watches and warnings to the 4-state area, and we're not done yet. Let's go straight to Michael Hayslip for our first check of the weather.
Just about everybody's in the midst of either a watch or a warning right now, Zach, and even the counties that we don't see currently under one, we're all a long way from being done. Now, our Tuesday morning rain that was out in the western edge of southeast Kansas it resulted in showers. We didn't have the thunder and lightning that we did overnight. We're starting to see even a little break there in the west central portion. But here's the thing. We're paying attention to what's coming out of Oklahoma right now, because that's what's going to keep us raining all day long. Here are the aforementioned watches and warnings. We've seen expansion out to the west now, making it all the way to the north and west of the Wichita area. That's why you see that blinking black box. Those are brand new flash flood watches for them in that darker turquoise. Of course, we've been mired in those for about the past 48 hours. The lime green that you see, those are flood warnings, kind of river specific when you see those. That's why they kind of make those weird looking lines there. But that's going to be the Osage, the Little Osage, the Marmaton, and the Neosho River. That flood warning expiration time of Saturday. That's for the far southern edge of the Neosho. Is our rain amounts, that's a 24-hour time period alone, with places that have picked up in between 3 and 5 inches. Here we are over 7th and Rangeline, where the intersection's wet, but we do have some blue sky and sunshine poking out. 70 degrees is where we stand. Very, very mild temperatures for being the end of June. 72 in Monette. Let's go 68 in Miami, 73 in Chanute. Nationally speaking, look at that line. That's what, when we opened the show there, we talked about it lasting from Texas all the way to the Great Lakes. It just throws us right in the middle of it. And so what we're going to have is rain throughout the course of our afternoon, nighttime, and oh, by the way, early Wednesday hours as well. Here it comes out of Oklahoma, everything from the southwest and then eventually working south to north. And into Wednesday morning, very, reminiscent of what we had late last night into early this morning. A little thunder and lightning with that as well. Got to put up with 4 more days of rain, Zach, before we can finally take a deep breath. What's going to shape up to be a great-looking Independence Day weekend. Just got to get there first. Yeah, just got to get there first. Yep. And wonder how much everything's going to dry out Friday before the actual bulk of the weekend on Saturday and Sunday. At least we'll be able to start. And here's the other thing. Because of all the ground that we're going, or the rain that we're going to have on the ground with it being saturated, it'd feel a whole lot different if we got up to about 95. Right. You know, so at least we're able to dry out there with temperatures in the low 80s. For sure. But thank you much, Michael. With flooding comes flooded and closed roads. Those closed roads are marked with barricades. Local law enforcement wants to remind you, do not move or go around those barricades. Not only is it not safe, but it could also result in a citation. Once the storms do pass and sun emerges, many 4-staters will return to the water. But even after the rain is gone, it could affect local waterways. Following periods of heavy rain, river currents are often much stronger, which makes activities like floating less safe. The best safety tip is stay off the water until things calm down.
This weekend, obviously, we had a tremendous amount of rain, and the water was up quickly and fast in many locations. My advice is to wait a few days before you get on it, let it have time to go down.
If you do choose to go floating or rafting, wear a life jacket. Authorities arrest 2 suspects in the death of Arkansas police officer Kevin Apple. He was a 23-year police veteran and served with the Pea Ridge Police Department for 3 years. At around 11:30 Saturday morning, Rogers PD alerted the Pea Ridge Police Department about a car they had been following. Around noon, Pea Ridge officers spotted the car at the White Oak gas station. When approached, police say the suspects rammed their car into a Pea Ridge police car. In doing so, they ran over Officer Kevin Apple, then drove away. The suspects were later arrested. One of them 18-year-old Elijah Andazola is charged with capital murder. This was the scene Monday after a duplex exploded in Missouri. The blast shook surrounding homes. Flames were shooting out of the building when firefighters arrived on the scene. 2 children were taken out of the home and put in an ambulance. Both were conscious and didn't appear to be seriously hurt. Witnesses described the sound.
You know, like a bomb or something. You know, that's what it sounded like. Honestly, I'm just hoping everybody's okay.
Police say they're treating the explosion as a crime scene for now. A Missouri Department of Transportation supervisor is dead after a driver hit him outside Kansas City Monday. The department identified him as 61-year-old Lloyd Crawford. He worked for MoDOT for almost 18 years. The Highway Patrol says he was on foot working in his area when a pickup hit him. The governor is reminding drivers to slow down in work zones. Emergency crews closed one westbound lane of the Will Rogers Turnpike in Mays County, Oklahoma Monday after a crash involving multiple semi-trucks. The crash occurred between the Claremore and Big Cabin exits near mile marker 274. According to Oklahoma Highway Patrol troopers, the first semi collided with a brush hogger that was mowing in the area and drove onto the road. Troopers said that another semi then crashed into the back of the first truck. Troopers say that the individuals involved suffered only minor injuries. Starting this week, Oklahomans returning to the workforce can apply to receive a $1,200 back-to-work incentive. It's available to anyone who returns to work and works at least 32 hours a week for 6 weeks. Extra federal unemployment benefits ended this weekend in Oklahoma. A small town in California has settled a lawsuit with the owner of the Flintstones house. The town of Hillsborough, a suburb of San Francisco, has called the colorful Flintstone house a public nuisance and took the owner to court 2 years ago. But the owner, retired publishing mogul Florence Fang, countersued to protect all her dinosaur sculptures. Now, according to the Palo Alto Post, the lawsuit is settled and everything can stay right where it is. Under the deal, she agreed to apply for permits going forward, as well as get approval on any landscaping improvements. The Bay Area town will also pay Fang $125,000 to dismiss her case. It's a victory in court that echoes what the sign in her yard says, yabba dabba doo. That is a pretty cool looking house, and I don't know, my personal opinion, it's good that she doesn't have to change a thing.
I don't know why
that's neat.
I mean, I don't understand why it's a public nuisance. I mean,
Right.
I've seen worse things.
Seen worse things,
Right.
for sure.
They live a little differently in Palo Alto, though.
Yeah. But you want to give us a look at the weather? I think that's what's next.
Yeah, I got something right here.
Yeah, cool.
How about that? Highs today around 85 degrees. Rain will continue and become more widespread as we get into the afternoon and evening hours, and rain persists all the way into the weekend.
Up next, a busy summer. We hear from local health professionals about an increase in COVID-19 cases, fueled in part by the Delta variant. You're watching the KUAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Welcome to
Southwest Missouri is seeing a spike in COVID-19 cases, and some experts fear it could get worse. KUAM's Bronte Sorotsky has more.
But our numbers have certainly taken an uptick.
Southwest Missouri is seeing a surge in COVID-19 cases. And with the Delta variant taking hold of the region, local health officials are worried the situation could get worse.
We've kind of got a perfect storm coming. We have relatively low vaccination rates, more people getting together, and a new variant out there that's contributing to the increases in cases.
At Mercy Hospital in Joplin, these numbers are starting to look familiar.
So our numbers currently are resembling what we saw in our first surge last fall. So that is concerning.
But now, those being hospitalized for the virus are mostly unvaccinated, which is why Stokes says precautions like masking and social distancing may still be necessary.
Our vaccination rate is still pretty low in our region. Yes, there is quite a concern with the Delta variant, again, because it is highly contagious.
Mercy is doing vaccine outreach to combat this by opening their vaccine clinics for walk-ins and by making special arrangements for those unable to make those clinic times.
We're doing everything we can to get as many people vaccinated as possible. We continue to highly encourage vaccination for those individuals that haven't been vaccinated yet.
Also doing more vaccine outreach is the Community Clinic of Southwest Missouri. They say with the increase in local cases and the emergence of the Delta variant, they're seeing more people interested in the vaccine than they have in weeks.
Whenever the increase of new strains was coming out and new cases were coming about, we started a pretty significant increase in requests for vaccines. So I'd say we've doubled the number of vaccines that we've been giving just in the last couple of weeks.
Experts say with this surge, it's more important now more than ever to get vaccinated. In Joplin and Carthage, Bronte Sorotsky, KUAM News.
Health officials say vaccines are readily available and the most effective way to fight the virus. The CDC says Oklahoma is last in the nation when it comes to testing for COVID variants. The report has some health officials concerned as the state's daily COVID-19 cases have jumped more than 100% since the beginning of June. Officials say part of the reason is that they test for variants only when there is a large outbreak of cases.
So it's been slow, our sequencing and testing for the variant, because our testing numbers are down right now overall, just people getting tested for COVID. So it takes several samples before we can actually run that sequencing to get those results.
Health officials, of course, say the best way to protect yourself from variants is to get vaccinated. Astronomers say they found a new type of supernova. They're calling this kind of star explosion an electron capture supernova. Astronomers say it happens when a star loses fuel and its electrons fuse within atoms. That makes the star collapse under its own weight. The findings focus on a supernova called 2018 ZD, named after the year it was first detected. The research is published in the journal Nature Astronomy. That's really pretty.
Absolutely,
the video.
that's gorgeous.
That's gorgeous. Man.
Too cool right there.
New type of supernova too. That's pretty cool too.
Including a champagne supernova.
Yeah.
Boom.
Boom.
I'll fit Oasis into a show. Don't put it past me. Hey Zach, I wanted to do that little compare and contrast with the rain from the tropical remnants of Danny. Here, let's do this. Let's go down there. All right, so look, that's where Danny is right there. Okay, see that?
Yep.
And so there's your rain for 24 hours. You see little lines of yellow every now and then, you know, 3 inches or so. Hi. Yeah, that's us. Yeah, that's us. And so obviously that leads to all the flood watches and that off turquoise color and the flood warnings, and they're here to stay. We're going to pick up additional rainfall for this afternoon into the evening hours. It'll make its way into the central and eastern portions of the 4 states. Really not going to be an elongated period of time until we get to Friday afternoon into the 4th of July weekend. We'll be back right after this. Back to the KOAM morning news. You know, sometimes I have to laugh because people will ask, do you go to Kansas City? Do you go to Tulsa? Like where do you guys go to for concerts, for art? You know what? Thanks to people like Emily Frankowski at Connect to Culture, in the 4 states, we don't have to go anywhere. It's a misconception, and really, if you're not familiar with what Connect to Culture does, it's because of people like Emily and the entire organization that, you know, let us just have a great time right here without having to worry about traveling 2 hours. Emily, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for those nice words. Exactly, that's exactly what Connect to Culture's mission is to ignite a passion for the arts, culture, and entertainment If that means us promoting all of the arts and cultural things going on so you don't have to miss out about them, or bringing in things that aren't here already, then we're going to do it. So that's what we're all about.
I'll tell you what, the summer has flown by. It's amazing to think that we're talking about something called July, but you have a great concert coming up called Jomo Jammin' in July. My first question is going to be as far as the location. I know it's out at Mercy Park. Are there any restrictions? What do I need to know when I show up to Jomo Jammin' in July?
Yeah, so Jomo Jammin' in July is a new summer concert series, and it's completely free of charge. Anyone can come. All you need to bring with you is your own chair. So bring your favorite lawn chair, put it in the trunk, and go to Mercy Park on any Saturday in July starting on the 10th. So we will have live music, all local musicians. We're kind of just celebrating getting back to live performances, as well as supporting our local talent here, which we have a lot of.
And I think the great thing that you just brought up is you bring your lawn chair, but number two, that it's free. Like we're pretty much to the point where we feel like we don't have to worry about restrictions. Obviously, if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. But all Emily is saying is there's nothing to get in the gate. It's free, and bring your lawn chair or bring a blanket if you want to do that. Emily, and another great thing about the 4 states is that something that is taught in every school and history book throughout the entire nation. His name's from right here in the 4 states, and it's George Washington Carver. And coming up on Saturday, July the 10th, we have Carver Day. Why is it so important for those of us that may have grown up someplace else, but know the name, find out more about the man?
You know, he is one of the most well-respected and most profound scientists in the 20th century. He helped us, with, learning how to make the soil better, not just relying on cotton as a crop. He's also an artist, and there's so much to learn at George Washington Carver National Monument. It's amazing that we have it right in our backyard. And this is one of those events that is just one of my favorites. I remember attending it when I was young. I remember candle making. I remember learning all about the Carver house and all of the other things that they have over there, making watercolor paintings out of natural pigments and things like that. But there's just a wealth of information to learn there. So I encourage everyone to attend.
And like Emily says, it's one thing to read about George Washington Carver in our history books. It's another thing to experience exactly the way he was raised and what he invented. It's absolutely amazing. For those of you that are not familiar, the George Washington Carver National Monument is in Diamond, Missouri. Get on I-49, head toward Diamond. You cannot miss the signs. Emily, and that's free and open to everybody?
Yep, that's free and open to everyone. And this is the 78th year they've celebrated. So this has been going on for a while.
Okay, and that's going to take place July 10th, and it starts at 10 a.m. It's going to run to 1 p.m. Emily Frankowski, Connect to Culture. Number one, Emily, thank you for joining us. Number two, thank you so much for what your organization does.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
All right, we'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
It's time to honor today's 4-state hero. Gerald Dietz was a member of the United States Navy from 1967 to 1971. He served during the Vietnam War on the same ship as his brother, Daryl Dietz. We're proud to salute Gerald Dietz, a 4-state hero. There's a lot of construction taking place in Joplin, basically all over the city. KOAM's Chris Warner caught up with local leaders to find out what's coming.
With each passing month, it seems more projects are popping up across Joplin. There's areas with obvious work in progress and others where most of what's happening is hidden behind historic walls. Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce President Toby Teeter says there's efforts in place for more projects.
There is ongoing efforts to attract additional retail opportunities that will add to the livability of Joplin. We're working on some things, including grocery stores, movie theaters, to really make this community a little more dynamic and have more things to do.
On the commercial side, the 32nd Street Place, which will be anchored by Menards, is underway. There's additional retail work taking place, like the site work on the future Brahms at 26th and Main.
More and more other areas of the city are really starting to take off, and a lot of adaptive reuse of existing buildings. I think the next chapter is a lot of the historic properties in downtown Joplin are going to take new lives.
That next chapter is something that Lori Hahn and the Downtown Joplin Alliance are keeping a close eye on.
I mean, we definitely have reached a level of momentum with downtown projects, and it's becoming visible enough that even people who aren't intimately involved in it can see it happening.
With a new hotel coming soon and 2 buildings being revamped for apartments, Hahn's looking forward to what this could mean for downtown Joplin.
Rehabbing an old building is great, and it's exciting to see that happen, but brand new construction where there's been nothing before is really noticeable just for the average passersby that way. So I think both of those in hand are kind of part of what's making it so successful.
But there's something in the way of more robust growth.
Our biggest prohibitors of growth right now is talent attraction and retention in affordable housing, and we're really focused on those now.
Teeter says they're continuing to look at ways to solve those problems to continue growth in the city. In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Lori Hahn tells us between 2017 and 2020, there was $55 million in downtown project investments. She estimates there will be more than $100 million in downtown project investments over the next 4 years. Another half hour of news and weather just ahead, coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. America's southern neighbor becomes the latest to decriminalize recreational marijuana. We'll have details. And how a Southeast Kansas martial artist is passing jiu-jitsu on to the next generation. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Its most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:31. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Authorities have arrested 2 suspects in the death of Arkansas police officer Kevin Apple. He was a 23-year police veteran and served with the Pea Ridge Police Department for 3 years. At around 11:30 Saturday morning, Rogers PD alerted the Pea Ridge Police Department about a car they had been following. Around noon, Pea Ridge officers spotted the car at the White Oak gas station. When approached, police say the suspects rammed their car into a Pea Ridge police car. In doing so, they ran over Officer Kevin Apple, then drove away. The suspects were later arrested. One of them, 18-year-old Elijah Andazola, is charged with capital murder. A Missouri Department of Transportation supervisor is dead after a driver hit him outside Kansas City on Monday. The department identified him as 61-year-old Lloyd Crawford. He worked for MoDOT for almost 18 years. The Highway Patrol says he was on foot working in this area when a pickup hit him. The governor is reminding drivers to slow down in work zones. Emergency crews closed one westbound lane of the Will Rogers Turnpike in Mays County, Oklahoma, Monday morning after a crash involving multiple semi-trucks. The crash occurred between the Claremore and Big Cabin exits near mile marker 274. According to Oklahoma Highway Patrol troopers, the first semi collided with a brush hogger that was mowing in the area and drove onto the road. Troopers said that another semi then crashed into the back of the first truck. Troopers say that the individuals involved suffered only minor injuries. Residents living on the outskirts of a sprawling industrial park in eastern Kansas hope that creating their own town will protect their rural lifestyle from encroaching development. Opposition to the massive logistics park Kansas City Intermodal facility has been brewing for months. It boiled over after the Edgerton City Council earlier this year agreed to rezone 700 acres to make way for more industrial properties. That's brought the development closer to the homes residents say they bought to be surrounded by fields and pastures. They hope that incorporating their own town will give them more say over their own fates. The Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Missouri plans to use a $25,000 donation to bring an academic support program to its club. The Panda Cares Foundation donated the money.
It's very very excited receiving this donation from the Panda Cares Foundation because we get to allow our kids to continue with these academic enrichment programs, which will allow them to be better in school, and it will allow them to gain better leadership opportunities.
Panda Cares is the philanthropic arm of Chinese restaurant chain Panda Express. When the rain ends and sun emerges, many four-staters will return to the water. But even after the rain is gone, it could impact local waterways. Following periods of heavy rain, river currents are often much stronger, which makes activities like floating less safe. The best safety tip is stay off the water until things calm down.
Here's the thing, Zach, it's going to be a while before things calm down. Getting some updated rain numbers. We've been talking about the past 24 and 48 hours. Let's take it back all the way to Friday, okay? In Joplin alone, 7 inches of rain.
7 inches.
Now think about this. For the month of June, Joplin Regional has picked up 7.88 inches. Since Friday, it's 7
That's
inches.
a lot of rain.
All right, Rick Gilmore, he's chiming in from Pittsburgh. Rick's rain measurement, he's got us at 6.5 in a 3-day span. In Parsons, the good doctor, Wayne Gilmore, Wayne telling me he's got 8.6 in his gauge since Friday. 8.6 inches. And then as we drop down into Miami, Joe Eberly is sending me some photos this morning. Most of any road that she was on, it was underwater. And so I want to reiterate what Zach said. It's not just thinking about those float trips for the 4th of July weekend. It's knowing that you're going to have to find an alternate route. And that's not just for today. That's going to really be for the rest of the week because our flash flood watches there in the dark turquoise last at least until tonight. Those will be extended, folks. And then our lime green with flood warnings, including right there down in Miami, lasting all the way until Saturday. And when we talk about it not being over, nope, here's what we've got for the rest of our Tuesday. By the time we get to the afternoon hours, we're kicking in for the central and eastern portions. Take us from Tuesday night into Wednesday morning with some thunderstorm activity, and we'll continue our chances of rain all until 4th of July weekend. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, the U.S. Supreme Court will not hear the case about a transgender student who sued to use the bathroom corresponding to his gender identity. In doing so, justices upholding the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals, which ruled in favor of the student. Our question to you this morning is, should bathrooms be restricted to the sex assigned at birth? 76% of you saying yes, it should be the sex assigned at birth. You can take part each morning in our Insta poll. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Zach?
Thanks, Michael. Flags at fire stations across the state of Missouri fly at half-staff Monday in honor of fallen St. Louis firefighter Rodney L. Hurd. Hurd died recently from COVID-19. Alex Fleece shows us how St. Louis remembered the man who served the community for 22 years.
It was quite a sight in the parking lot of the New Springs Church on Lewis and Clark Boulevard. No fewer than 15 fire trucks are lined up, forming a frame for a very large American flag and providing a pathway for St. Louis firefighter Rodney Hurd to enter and exit the memorial service where friends, family, fellow firefighters, and others gathered to pay their respects. Inside, St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones arrives to pay her respects, followed by a formal gesture in the firefighter community, the uniformed member walkthrough.
All of us here know how important our first responders are and that they put their lives on the line every day to keep people alive. But if this past year has taught us anything, it's how great the sacrifice serving on the front lines truly is.
You can tell a hero not by their name, not by their title, but by their actions. Officer firefighter Rodney L. Hurd was a hero because he answered the call to become a firefighter, to put his life in danger to help others.
At any time of day and night, no matter the nature of the call, be it difficulty breathing, an auto accident, or report of fire in a building with children trapped, firefighter Rodney Hurd lived to help others in their time of need.
After the service, and before firefighter Hurd was laid to rest, St. Louis firefighters send him off to his next assignment, escorted by his colleagues and the well wishes of the entire St. Louis community.
Rodney Hurd is survived by his wife, Lisa, 6 children, and numerous grandchildren. We'll be back right after this. Mexico's Supreme Court ruled to decriminalize recreational marijuana yesterday, making them the second country in Latin America behind Uruguay to do so. A move the president of the court called historic. The resolution allows cultivating, transporting, and distributing marijuana for personal use without penalization. It does not allow importing or commercializing marijuana. Mexico's Senate had approved medical marijuana back in December 2016. Hallmark is allowing people to make cards for family and friends by phone. The company announced Sign and Send technology where people can create their own cards, complete with handwritten messages. Users choose a Hallmark card and then upload a photo of a personal message. Hallmark takes the personal message and puts it together as a physical card, which will stamp and send to the recipient at no additional charge. AAA says more than 43 million Americans will hit the road this 4th of July weekend, and if you're one of them, it might be tough to find gas. A shortage of tank truck drivers, along with the pandemic-related travel surge, is causing supply chain bottlenecks and shortages. A number of areas are already reporting gas shortages, including the Pacific Northwest and Northern California. The trade group National Tank Truck Carriers reports somewhere between 20 to 25% of tank trucks are sitting idle across the country. Fireworks go on sale in Kansas, which means fireworks inspectors are also working hard to keep people safe. Lily Wu checked in with one of those inspectors on what they're looking at this week.
Fireworks tents are up across Wichita, and the Wichita Fire Department is here to make sure they're safe.
I see a lot of potential to go bang and boom in here if things aren't done properly.
Inspectors like Lieutenant Shannon Ward are making sure these stands follow the rules, keeping workers and customers safe.
While we enjoy fireworks, the color, the dazzle, and all of that, we don't like to see it inside a tent. So the no smoking sign is very important. We check extinguishers, make sure they're up to date on their inspections, make sure that they're pressurized and in the proper locations. We check distance of cars, we make sure that the electrical's good, and we make sure that the tent had fire retardant spray put on it.
Those who work at this fireworks stand at 53rd and Meridian welcome these inspections.
We are in the tent 10 days, so we want to make sure we are safe the whole time we are here. So we just ask that everybody have some common sense, make sure they're not smoking when they're coming to the tents to shop, make sure they're not lighting fireworks right outside our tents.
At the fireworks stand in Park City, 3D Fireworks owner Patrick Dillman says they already had one customer try to walk in with a cigarette.
Just have a lot of common sense. That's the biggest thing. As long as you can use common sense with a lot of things. If you think it's going to cause a problem, then it probably will, and don't even try it.
While safety is a priority, Dillman is reminding people to only shoot fireworks in the city where you buy them.
Most fireworks stands are selling until Monday, July 5th. We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. Andrew Brown is the owner and instructor at Arise Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Pittsburgh. He's a busy guy between coaching, competing, and a part-time job. But as Jacob Leonard reports, he still finds time to pass his passion for jiu-jitsu along to the next generation.
Andrew Brown didn't get into martial arts until he was 22 years old.
I wish I would have started when I was 2.
Now,
come on, Morgan, get that boy. Get him.
He's on the other side of it as an instructor, giving the next generation the chance to start a little earlier.
It not only gives them a self-defense aspect, structure. Every day they're building confidence, but they're also being humbled. So it keeps them kind of right in the middle, and it just helps them out in the long run, I feel like.
As a parent, you know that you're not going to be able to keep them safe,
their entire life. And I think as parents, we need to give them tools to do that for themselves. And jiu-jitsu has been great for that.
Brown teaches at Arise Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Pittsburgh, taking students as young as 6 years old.
We got into jiu-jitsu and he loves it. Like the smile on his face, he just lights up every time he's here. It's like he loves it.
I've had some kids that came in low confidence, like not flexible, and their parents are, oh, they're bullied, they're this and that. And seeing that confidence get built, it just means the world to me.
Good job, bro. Hey, you two, you're looking good, both of you. Keep it up. You guys keep training together, you're gonna be super good.
When he's home, he stubs his toe, the world ends. But when he's here with his teammates, and he's a total different kid here.
In addition to teaching kids and adults 5 days per week and coaching tournaments on some weekends, Brown competes himself and also has a part-time job outside of jiu-jitsu.
You don't sleep much. And passion, love, you got to do what you love, and I'm doing what I love.
Remember, if it touches one person's leg, everybody does 3 sprawls, good.
I'd love to have hundreds of them. I'd have a lot more gray hair, but I'd love to have hundreds of kids,
Good job, guys. Good job. Good job today. You guys did really good tonight.
There's never been jiu-jitsu in Pittsburgh till we got here, and I want that to be available for them, and I want that to be available for as long as they want to do it.
Brown has about 35 total students, including 10 to 15 kids at Arise Academy. You can check out his class schedule and get more information in this story on the sports page at KOAMnewsnow.com.
That gentleman is the epitome of, if you don't think you have enough hours in a day, check out his story and the fact that he went back into that.
Definitely.
It feels like he's got like 4. And not only that, we're talking about something recreationally that he likes to teach. And for those of you that have kids that age.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Right. Sometimes that can be herding cats in and of itself. All right, Zach, let's jump to the Skywatch Storm Tracker. This band of rain that encroached upon our western counties of southeast Kansas this morning stretches from Texas all the way to the Great Lakes. That also mimics flood warnings across the United States. We still have showers coming down out in the western part of southeast Kansas, and we're still keeping our eye on what's coming out of Oklahoma City, because it not only gets a little heavier there, but also too it's making a southwest to northeasterly track, so it'll continue to dominate our western counties. New storm report coming out right along the Missouri-Oklahoma state line. Chautauqua County, 3.8 inches. That's in 24 hours. That doesn't even count what happened earlier this week. So obviously no surprise that we've got our flash flood watches for the counties in that offset turquoise color. I was giving you an idea about how far those expanded. There it is from Texas all the way to the Great Lakes. And then when we talk about river specific and some countywide flood warnings, it's going to be the Neosho, the Marmonton, the Osage, the Little Osage River, and most of those running all the way into the weekend. Our temperatures have been very, very mild. We're talking about anywhere from high 60s, low 70s. Certainly don't have any complaints about that. Our problem is we can't get out of the way rain-wise. Watch the top of the panels there as the icons develop cloud cover and eventually rain for everybody by the time we get to Wednesday. Kind of fills up this afternoon as it moves through into the central and eastern portion of the 4 states, lasting from Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. That's going to bring us additional thunderstorm activity reminiscent of what we had last night. 4 more days of rain. Light at the end of the tunnel. Still looking at a great 4th of July weekend. We just got to be safe and get there first. We'll be back. Wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. The frantic search for survivors of last week's condo building collapse in Surfside, Florida has entered its 6th day. Last night, officials said they are still in search and rescue mode, despite not finding anyone alive since Thursday morning, hours after part of the 12-story building fell. If you're planning on hitting the road for the 4th of July holiday, you may want to fuel up now. Gas prices are on the rise again. GasBuddy.com reports the national average is now $3.09 a gallon and is expected to climb even higher as the summer goes on. Danny, which was a tropical storm and is now considered a tropical low pressure system, is here. We're going to go to Michael Hislop now with how we're getting more rain than Danny has dropped.
Yeah, I got you because I actually popped it up here. During the break there, Zach and I were just talking about the weird nature of Danny as it went from depression, tropical storm, back to depression. Now we just call it the remnants, just low pressure system. It's still going to drop a fair amount of rain. But yeah, we're going to get more rain here than what they're going to get down there from Danny. Future track. As the rains continue to roll through for the afternoon hours, they spread to the central and eastern part of the 4 states, and then overnight, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, there comes some thunderstorm activity rolling in, so our rain numbers will continue to grow all through the next 4 days till we finally get a break Friday night and takes us into what will be a nice 4th of July weekend.
If you are a gamer, all that time spent playing video games might actually have been preparing you for life in your career. A new report says most people found all of their hours playing video games helped them in the real world. According to a survey conducted by market research firm OnePoll and World of Warships by Wargaming, 47% of Americans believe the competitive nature of video games has helped them succeed. Of the 2,000 people surveyed, others noted gaining creativity skills, better hand-eye coordination, and management and problem-solving skills from gaming.
All right, tell mom and dad that. There you go, folks.
Yeah,
Thanks for letting us put the good in your morning. More news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great